The architectural history of Kyoto, Japan. Kyoto occupies a unique place in Japan's architectural history. As the imperial capital for more than 1,000 years, from 794 to 1868, the city became the primary stage on which political authority, religious thought, aesthetic philosophy, and daily life were expressed through architecture. Unlike cities shaped mainly by commerce or industry, Kyoto evolved as a ceremonial and cultural center, resulting in a built environment defined by harmony, restraint, and continuity with nature. Heian period foundations, 794 to 1185. Kyoto was established in 794 as Heian-kyo, modeled on the Chinese Tang dynasty capital of Chang'an. The city was laid out on a strict grid plan aligned with geomantic principles, reflecting Confucian ideals of order and hierarchy. Wide avenues, palace complexes, and governmental buildings occupied the northern part of the city, while residential and commercial quarters spread to the south. Elite architecture during the Heian period was dominated by the Shindanzakuri style, used in aristocratic residences. These buildings featured open floor plans, raised wooden floors, and sliding screens that blurred the boundary between interior and exterior. Gardens were integral, designed as symbolic landscapes with ponds, bridges, and carefully placed rocks. This architectural approach emphasized seasonal change, impermanence, and visual harmony, principles that would define Japanese architecture for centuries. Buddhist architecture and the rise of temples. Kyoto also developed as a major center of Buddhism, and temple architecture became a defining element of the city. Early temples were influenced by Chinese construction techniques, using wooden post and beam structures, tiled roofs, and axial layouts. Over time, distinct Japanese adaptations emerged, prioritizing simplicity and natural materials. Zen Buddhism, introduced in the late 12th and 13th centuries, had a profound architectural impact. Zen temples such as Kenninji and Tenryuji emphasized disciplined spatial order and minimal ornamentation. The development of karasansui, dry rock gardens, transformed architecture into a meditative experience where space, emptiness, and suggestion carried as much meaning as physical form. Medieval period and warrior influence, 1185 to 1600. As political power shifted from the imperial court to the samurai class, Kyoto's architecture reflected new values. While the city remained culturally significant, architecture became more restrained and practical. Residential buildings evolved toward shoinzakuri, characterized by tatami mat flooring, built-in shelving, alcoves, tokonoma, and sliding paper doors. This style strongly influenced both domestic architecture and temple interiors. The shoinzakuri emphasis on proportion, asymmetry, and controlled views reinforced the Japanese aesthetic ideal of wabi-sabi, which values simplicity, imperfection, and transience. Tea houses, often designed by master tea practitioners such as Sun no Rikyu, embodied these principles through small-scale structures built from humble materials like bamboo, clay, and unfinished wood. Momoyama and early Edo period grandeur, 16th to 18th centuries. The late 16th century brought a brief but influential period of architectural grandeur under powerful warlords. Castles and palatial residences were constructed with bold decorative elements, gold leaf screens, and expansive layouts. In Kyoto, Nijo Castle stands as a key example, combining defensive architecture with luxurious interiors meant to display political authority. During the Edo period, Kyoto experienced relative stability and economic growth. While the political capital shifted to Edo, modern Tokyo, Kyoto remained the spiritual and artistic heart of Japan. Townhouses known as machiya became the dominant urban residential form. These narrow, deep wooden buildings combined shopfronts with living spaces and inner courtyards, reflecting both land constraints and the integration of work and home life. Preservation through change, 19th, early 20th centuries. The Meiji Restoration of 1868 marked the end of Kyoto's role as imperial capital. Unlike many Japanese cities that rapidly modernized, Kyoto adopted a more measured approach to Western influence. Brick and stone buildings appeared, but traditional wooden construction and spatial organization largely persisted. Kyoto's relative preservation was aided by both cultural pride and circumstance. The city escaped large-scale destruction during World War II, allowing its historic neighborhoods, temples, and shrines to survive intact. This continuity reinforced Kyoto's identity as a living archive of Japanese architecture. Modern Kyoto and contemporary architecture. In the post-war period, Kyoto faced the challenge of accommodating modern life while preserving its historic character. Height restrictions and design regulations were introduced to protect views of temples, mountains, and traditional streetscapes. Contemporary architects working in Kyoto often engage in dialogue with tradition rather than rejecting it. Modern buildings incorporate concrete, steel, and glass while respecting traditional proportions, materials, and relationships to nature. Institutions such as the Kyoto National Museum's modern wing and contemporary cultural centers demonstrate how innovation can coexist with heritage. Conclusion: Kyoto's architectural history is defined not by radical transformation, but by gradual refinement. From Heian period palaces and Zen temples to Machiya townhouses and contemporary interpretations, the city embodies a philosophy that values continuity, craftsmanship, and harmony with nature. Architecture in Kyoto is not merely built form. It is a cultural expression shaped by ritual, belief, and time. This enduring balance between past and present makes Kyoto one of the world's most architecturally significant cities.